Let's cut to the chase. The timer is already, it's too late to introduce a timer. So let's get it, guys. Thank you so much for waiting on me. Just have an overlapping thing happening. Well, you may not know, but maintaining impersonators and people that is trying to hurt the Discord, it's quite a task. They get very innovative, and we need to counteract that. It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie because I like to get back to them. Maybe that's where I channel all my frustration throughout life. That's why you see me always happy because they get the worst part of me, so you get the best part of me, guys. So, all right. So it's a lot of fun. Come back to how could I put this? It's like a conspiracy stuff with all of the support, right? So we have a special channel where when we cut something up, we send it there. We get together, we make a plan. How can we counteract this? We create bots, we automate stuff, and oh man, it's so much fun. But it's also sometimes a little bit frustrating because we need to act fast, right? So other than that, I had a little bit of overlapping like that. Some impersonators, to say the least, they got creative and they're sending like 1.jpg, 2.jpg, 3.jpg, 4.jpg, right? Or .jpg, just so you know. So it looks like they're sharing a picture without actually sharing a picture. So they disguise their link of a hurtful of a virus. They disguise it like if it was a JPEG, right? So you click it, you get infected. I mean, we actually run it on a outer server on a VPS. So just to see how that plays out, the first thing they do is they take control of your cookies from whatever browser you're using, right? So the scary part from that, just if you didn't know, is that they stole your cookies and they stole a, how do you call that little thing that is all the way up there? Let me see. It's called a come on, what is your name? Extension. So they install an extension and they keep sending the cookies back to them. The scary thing is sites like Discord, Facebook, what is, I think, not 100% sure Twitter, but I think Twitter and WhatsApp, if you have WhatsApp open up on your browser, they get access even if you have 2FA or two-factor authenticator on place. So basically they clone your cookies, and those cookies still, hey, I already am identified, so let me in. And they get access to your data like that, right? So it's pretty scary. So just so you know, do not click any stuff from anyone that you don't know, or at least from new users or unverified users. Even just so you know, once we have a user that paid the highest tier of the membership that we had, right? And then he tried to impersonate someone of the team, and then he faked out on Photoshop like the other people was the scammer, right? So, oh man, they get really creative. So a truth investigation went on there. I mean, we pull up IPs, we track, dude, a mess. So do not go out there clicking stuff. And if you're gonna be clicking stuff, let me give you a piece of advice, not a sponsor, but we could look into Acronis, all right? Acronis has this thing that clones your PC, and then you can have like, let me show you. I do actually have it in here. Let me disconnect it. Oh, come on. All right, perfect. I have my own 16 terabyte, and it's a little bit dirty. There you go, 16 terabyte backup in here. So what I do is I synchronize it. So once every week, it makes a complete setup or complete backup of my whole computer into that thing. So in case anything happens, I can click the red button. That red button locks me out of everything, deauthenticates all of my accounts all at once, and then I can come back in here and restore the access right before I got infected. So anything after that backup thing, it's gone, completely gone, and I don't need to I don't need to format my hard drive. I don't need to like do crazy stuff. All of my programs I've installed, all of my configurations are there. So I know this is not tech class, but trust me, it's not a matter that if it's going to happen to you. Let me tell you, sadly, that it's a matter of when it's going to happen to you, right? So it doesn't matter if you're tech savvy, be prepared because it's going to happen to you. It had happened to me. It happened to very savvy guys that I know, right? So be careful out there. Have a plan B, just like in trading, right? Just like in trading, have a plan B and keep it running. Sometimes, let me tell you that when you forget to back up your stuff, that's when shit happens. So, and man, that shit do happen. So it's like they're waiting, like they knew, right? So let me just get my stuff in there. I don't want to lose it. All right, so let's go today to the charts. I was supposed to teach you today Fibonacci extensions, but we are dumping, guys. Bitcoin is taking a doozy. So since I'm telling you, since we're doing these classes, like every single time that we do a new chapter, like the markets do the stuff that we're learning. So since we have a retracement, I think this is a fabulous way to look at how that retracement, Fibonacci retracement, acts upon price action, right? Or measure how low could we go? Because let me tell you, Jupiter, I give a possible entry where I have a position in there. It's taking my second entry and it doesn't want to stop. So maybe that'll be my first stop out of a stop loss of the week. We don't know, but let's take a look. So let's go into the charts. All right, perfect. We're here into the charts. Let's go into Jupiter. Jupiter, I was looking into the previous weekly lows, aiming a little bit slightly above. Why? Because we just went through a support in here, which now it's a resistance, and also the VPVR in here. Sorry, not the VPVR, the money flow POC. Not only that, I'm also realized that we have a small volume here, and a big volume here. Usually, as we know, areas of ranging. So if I'm falling, I'm going to be looking for this high disparity to look for range. And also small volume usually indicates areas of big reaction, right? So what I'm expecting, or what I was expecting, it was, all right, maybe we can come in here, maybe they try to react it, maybe they dump, maybe they range, and then finally we can have a breakout retest, averaging down my secondary position in here. As you can see right there, that's my secondary position, right? Therefore, I could be having a possible of an entry here. And if I will be bouncing to my VPVR, that will be an easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let me measure it. Something like a 91% gain. Why? Because at this point I'm using 10x on 2 half of entries, right? So that is the thought progress. All right. Nonetheless, it's not playing out. Remember, we need to have a plan B. What's my plan B? At this point, stop loss. Right? Secondary entry. So I averaged that down my position, right? Let me just Control C this. There we go. So we can keep track on where I entered, all right? Also, I was looking for a flip of the ribbon. Just so you know, one of my mistakes in here is not waiting for that flip of the ribbon. I front run it, right? In fact, now that I look back at it, guys, and this is something that you're gonna, everybody has its own monsters, its own ghosts, its own mistakes, right? Its own, I don't know, how would you call them? Its own puddles, right? And this is the puddle that I'm keep going into, front running when it's not time to front run it, right? So it's something that happens. You also might be having the same thing happening to you. So you need to identify it and of course try to correct it. The thing is right here, as we're going downwards, that is the way, or that is the zone that I would rather front run it and not front run it 2 candles before, right? So just be careful with that one. You might be seeing, again, stepping into that same mistake that I do over and over. It's just part of, again, of my trading learning curve, right? So it's one of those things that for some reason I keep doing. So don't do it, you guys. But I guarantee you that you're gonna find your own puddle. So make sure you identify it quickly and you act upon, about it. So 1 second here, please. Second, I'm still here. Sorry, just an important message came in. Needed to reply to it. All right, so what are we going to be learning now? Of course, are we going to be going into Bitcoin and also all of the assets that have been just messing with our heads. Let's go ahead and take a look at our setups in here, and I think we're it. But I missed something very, very, very important. And for that, let me go to the standalone here. And guys, I don't know if you know, but what is the most important part of this show? Let me know in the side chat. The most important part of this show, of course, that is you guys. So I keep shouting you out. How could I, right? So let's get started. Alexander G, number 1. Welcome, Alexander. Nice to have you around. Thank you for stopping by. Wick's wife, what's up? Number 2 in here, also fighting in number 1. What is it? I don't know, those crowns still drive me crazy because I don't know how to get them. But perfect. I mean, that's fantastic that you guys got them. Jesse Glue, what's up? What's up, my friend? Thank you for stopping by. I know it's 2 a.m. in the morning on your country. Thank you so much for the time that you put into this classes. Really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. Drew, we have Drew in the chat. What is up, brother? Welcome. Crypto Pollo, ¿qué pedo? ¿Cómo estás? What's up, brother? Welcome, welcome. Who else we have in here that maybe have just joined? Frank the Tank. What's up, my friend? Welcome, Frank. Great to have you around. Who else we have? Telephant. What's up, Telephant? Welcome. Great to have you. Thank you for stopping by. Who else? Jay Violet. Hey, Jay Violet. How has it been? Long time no seen. Thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Who else is in here? I think that's it for now. As you guys join, I'll also shout you out. Also, guys, if you see that I'm skipping somebody, please let me know. Spam me over there. Add me at Piper Academy so I can see it because it's bright. As you can see right here, it is bright, bright, bright. So I can see it. So yeah, use that tag, please. Use it as much as you can. Also, when you have questions, do use that tag so I can see it right away. All right, so let's go over to the charts in here and continue. Oh, no, out. It's charts, not the outro. All right, and continue where we left out. So let's go over Bitcoin, right? I know it's a little bit messy. Let's just get rid of everything in here or as much as we can. You know what? Why not? Let's do a big reset on this chart. This is this Bitcoin. Yep, let's do a big reset. Perfect. So let's do a little bit of a recapping here, right? What kind of recap we have? Let's also get rid of that. Yeah, why not? Whatever. The recap that we're going to be doing is how to place a retracement. Remember that I taught you guys. JR, what's up, my friend? Welcome. French Toaster, what's up, brother? Welcome, guys, to the alumni. Take a seat and start throwing paper balls. All right, so other than that, let's do the little trick that I taught you guys a long time ago without telling you that was a kind of Fibonacci, right? In fact, just so you know, Fibonacci for me, it's a little bit messy. I love it, I like it, especially retracements and especially the order of magnitude. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch yesterday's video. It's going to talk about order of magnitude to predict wave upon wave of possible scenarios, right? So that is fantastic in case you're looking for that kind of retracement. Nonetheless, when I'm looking at this area, I usually drew my, my box in here from the very bottom to the very top, or better yet, from the breakout retest, right? Breakout retest or something where we change in here of color to the very top. You'll see that my 50% line slightly changes and also my 1/3 slightly changes. What is the 1/3 from here? Somewhere around here. What is the 1/3 in here? Somewhere around here. This also gives me important zones, right? I want you guys to notice where is my channel, all right? What is that channel of those two 50 and 50, right? So you'll get used to it, but it's just a good analogy so far, right? That channel, it is around 97 to 93 I'm telling you, this kind of boxes really played out fantastically, especially when you do that smaller box within a smaller box. But we're not here to talk about boxes. We are here to talk about Fibonacci retracement. So the first point is, what am I going to be tracing? All right. Oh, we have a Solana setup here. It's not showing on your end, but it is showing on mine. We'll take a look into it in a second. All right. So we know we could be ranging. Perfect. What is going to be telling us that we could be ranged? The previous lows. Where is our previous lows? At 100K, right? Somewhere around there. If we could be slightly going downwards, which is going to be maybe taking us to that 97, 93 zone. That's what I'm hoping for. So this is a flat pause of bullish continuation. But so far, since we're going lower, it makes sense that we prepare for how low we could go. Before, we used to just add our indicators in here. And for example, look at that. We have a trend line that we have not yet broken. Perfect. Seems like we're going to be breaking it, of course. We have dynamic reactor, and we have our next support and resistances, right? Another daily support and resistance along with predictive ranges. So that way we start building up. Look at that, our VPVR, sorry, money flow POC, our golden line on that predictive range, high order block in which we are, and I think that we're going to be bouncing from, going through, and then finally another order block somewhere around here, so on, so forth, right? So the easy way was basically turning out on our stuff. In this case, looking at our VPVR, where is our line, where is our next spike, in here was our next valley in here, right? So as you can see, we built up that that confluence. Well, Fibonacci is more of the same. All right, it's more of the same because it adds to your pattern. Something that people do is that they add Fibonacci and they give it a bigger or larger weight, right? So basically, instead of using, I don't know, 4 or 5 tools, they use Fibonacci and 2 other tools, right? So Fibonacci, it's counting like 3 other tools. So together they use like 5 if you give them a weight, right? So just so you know. So how do you add those Fibonacci? Well, we're going to be looking for retracement. So what is the last known point or last known trend? It's going to be uptrend. So what are we going to be looking for? For the retracement of the uptrend. All right. So far, so good. So if we're going to be measuring the retracement of an existent trend, we need to know first, point A, the existent known support or resistance. And then as B, which B is going to be unknown so far, right? It is where we speculate to be the end of that trend or that movement. All right. So we don't know that this is the end because maybe tomorrow we do something like that. All right. Then this will become the actual end of the movement, right? But so far we're speculating based on point B. So we go to our Fibonacci tool to our left, right? Click around here. I usually like to click to my left, and I'm also removing this stuff because I want to see the very end of that week. All right, so I click to my left, but what I'm using, it is the dashed line. The dashed line, I'm lining it with these 2 weeks right down here, right? From these 2 weeks, I'm gonna be lining up my dashed line, right? So I extend to my left, lined up with that dashed line. There we go. So this one in here, and then I overextend again, lining up with the top in here, so the numbers doesn't bother me. You see that? Again, what I'm lining up, it is with this bottom, right, point A, and with this top, point B. But I overshoot to my right, so I can see cleanly and clearly where I'm placing it, and also to overextend it in a point that the numbers doesn't bother me. And also I overshoot to my left, right? So I can correctly place this line to my left, and I know that my mouse and this thing is this snapping point or this node is not bothering me. All right. So let me read the side chat. Hey, what's up, Lunar Beach Crypto? Welcome, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Who else is in here? Do we have anybody new so far? That's it. Perfect. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. So what else? At this point, we have our retracement on place. Remember, and I don't know why this is not gold, but it should have been gold, right? And this is our golden pocket. This one and this one. So I do remember this one we changed it to, I don't know, whatever. And then this one we changed it to something gold-ish. This maybe. And this one then. Yeah, I think so. And then the very next ones, which are 786 and 887. 786, we made it a little bit of like kind of like a platinum color, right? Something like gray, something like that, like give us the platinum vibe, right? At this point, what we can do, if this thing keeps changing, double click on it so it brings this up. We go to templates and you can save this as classic fib or fibs, right? And classic, of course, with double S, and classic fibs, right? So you can save it, click OK, and then you have your setup ready to go. I do advise you to go over the colors, dial them down a little bit. What I usually do when I'm not creating this from scratch, I go somewhere around 50 or 60% brightness in here. So let me show you how that looks with these two in line. Sorry about that. And we got a kind of like a transparency add to it, so it's not that bright on my eyes. And then things like, for me, a little bit more important, like for example a trend line in here, right? It doesn't get lost behind this color. So why not? Let's do it really quickly. So I'm gonna go like that. I'm not gonna even look at it, so I'm just gonna guess somewhere at the half of it, so including one. So everything goes like in half opacity like that, all right? So just for the purpose of this not interfering with my thing, including my lines in here, I want it to be a little bit less thicker. And then this one here, I also want it to be a little bit less thicker, and of course much less bright. And this one, it's this dashed one, all right? So far so good. I think this is how I like it. The background, I don't use background, and that will be it. That way it is not such or that much outstanding. Let's go all the way back in here and save the template, save as, and this is classic fibs, right? So let's there it is, classic fibs, save at. Do I want to replace it? Yes, let's replace it. Click OK, and finally this is my end setup. So what else can we save from here? So perfect, we have our top of the movement here, right? Our speculative movement to the downside, starting after we lose the trend. So where are we from that huge movement? We are just about the 1/3. Remember that? So remember, we usually look for, when we create our box in here, we go all the way down here to all the way at the top, and we look for first 50% retracement, right? Which is also a Fibonacci 50%. And also we look for 1/3 somewhere around here. So it's just easier to find the 1/3, just so you know that we look for that kind of like wiggle room between the 236 and the 382. So that is our 1/3. So it's just the average point between those two, right? So that is basically it on what I'm looking for the classic box. But also, let's do something else. Remember that I told you that what we want to look or measure from either the known point all the way down here or the breakout retest. So let's go for the breakout retest in here, right? And remember that you can measure based out of whatever you think your bottom is. It doesn't make that much of a difference in what are you calculating, just you're cutting out some data. So it's not that it's going to be wrong, It's just like, of course, you are compacting your data here because you're leaving out some of it. But do not be worried about it. I usually go for the pivots, but feel free to grab important areas of resistance or support for your known areas, for where you're starting to draw, all right? So again, you can have a ton of guys telling you how to draw a fib, but do what makes sense to you. Like, for example, going for this very nice area, which is, this is an important area for me. Look at that, we're having a golden line, or the golden pocket aligned with our area of support or resistance in here, right? So, but so far, let's do it the classical way. So where are we having the most of our confluence? In here, where my white lines are. Remember, those white lines were order blocks, predictive ranges, right? And many other things that they were in the way. So let me see if I can grab it. Perfect. So perfectly, it is between the 382 and the 0.5. So we're having a big area of support around this zone, right? Around the 382. So some ones are very close to the 50, some ones are very close to 236, but we can average them down to the 382. Just so you know, the 382 is one of my favorite zones for retracement. So what is the important part in here? As we get to a Fibonacci level, we want to see our oscillator, all right? Also, we always trade on confluence. So we do exactly the same. We go over our indicators and look at this trend line. I have one more thing acting as a support. Do I have any support in here? Not really. Do I have any support in here? Smart money entry, maybe. We'll see if that reacts. Do I have anything here? Yes, the middle of an order block. Do I have something here? No. My VPVR, sort of, not really. The VPVR, so it's actually starting to see, or I'm starting to see, a area of confluence, right? Remember also to use your FIBP. So the FIBP is just taking your previous instant pivots, and based on that pivot, showing you a confluence in that pivot. So what is it doing? It's grabbing the localized volume, so it's giving you your VPVR. What is your VPVR? It is something like this, right? So your volume profile, but in smaller, right? So by the way, this FIVP, if it would have been my decision, it would have been a paid indicator because it's that big of a deal for me. So it gives you volume, it gives you a POC, and it gives you a pivot to pivot Fibonacci level, right? And not only that, it gives you a directional trading line. In fact, we already have hit it, right? And it also gives you the prediction of that Fibonacci. You can also customize it, but that's it. Let's go for confluence, right? So we already have seen that we have a lot of confluence in here, but are we green? We're not. Are we losing strength? We're not. How are we looking into our RSI? Do we have some bouncing scenario here? Not really. We don't have tiny candles, right? So despite we are on a very important zone of a Fibonacci retracement, guys, it does this. Do you think that we're gonna bounce up based on our oscillator? Seems like we're not, all right? Seems like we're not. So what happens if for some reason we do, all right? Or you think that we're going to. So far, this is the mistake that I do. I front run usually a little bit earlier because at this point I see, hey, I have some support, right? I think that it's gonna be enough. So instead of waiting for my confirmation right here with a flip of the ribbon or the decreasing of strength or flipping of the bullishness, right, from bearish to bullish, so going back green on my oscillator, instead of waiting for this to happen with my diamond, I front run it. Sometimes I nailed it, sometimes I don't, all right? So if you're gonna go in here with front running your indicators, at least make it as safer as you can. How do you do that? Well, then I'm not here to tell you to front run anything, all right? But look at your previous highs, right? look at where is your support zone, right? Look that if that makes sense. It doesn't for me. So what I do, I cut in half my entry, half of an entry there, and then maybe I consider lowering my leverage, right? So what I do, I always want to add another half. What's going to be my next half? Somewhere around here, almost about to take me out. In that case, I'm going to be extending it just a little bit to this support. And also, I realize that I have my Fibonacci support zone in here, right? So I feel a little bit more confidence in here, and I'm trying not to go over 1. So I usually keep it somewhere around 1 to 1, right? That way, if this comes back down, I average down my entry, right? I'm waiting for a possible retracement to the upside. Come on, don't do that to me. Just draw, right? And then when I bounce up, I close my position, even if I create a lower high. If I see that I'm flipping back down in here, I short this area and go to my next area of support. I head switch and off we go. The same thing that we've been doing over and over and over, right? So the point is that you'll see a lot of traders backing up the Fibonacci tool, right? Some even into some point that feels mystic, right? So like if it had something hidden into it, it doesn't. But its most powerful setup is that it gives you percentages that we as humans react to it, right? So also, I mean, you use confluence to back those areas. So the only mystic thing is that life itself does react to a pattern, and this pattern, it's being set on percentages in here, right? That's the only kind of like a mystic thing behind the Fibonacci. Other than that, use it as support and resistance and add it to your confluence, right? So for me, the most important points are, and we did not learn this from Fibonacci, although it's a Fibonacci pseudo stuff. Let me just hide it. It is from the just normal box, right? The 50%, right? The center, and the 1/3, which is around in the middle between 382 and 236, all right? So basically, that is the area that it has the most importance for me. Nonetheless, you add your Fibonacci, or we're gonna be learning how to trade with it, which is very simple. We just use it as support and resistance, add the confluence, and then trade upon that confluence, right? Guys, let me know what are you looking here. Sorry, I was reading the LBC comments. All right, so let me know, guys, if you're looking into something. I'll be more than glad to go over that. Remember, we have a little delay, so make sure you write it up there in the chat. And in the meantime, I'm going to be looking into Ethereum, all right? So hashtag #Ethereum. And by the way, come on, that we did not hit, and this is daily, let's go to 4 hours, that we did not hit my alert. Come on, this is why Ethereum, man, with a capital F. Look at that, dude. I mean, that would have been a fantastic trade, a phenomenal trade. But look at that. That was less than 0.5%, by the way. Let me measure it. So that was, oh God, I do need to bring chunky candles to measure that. We were so close, so close. That was a 0.28. Come on. Oh man, this is one of the things that it feels like I'm being kicked in the balls. All right. Anyway, now that we're retracing, how do we measure this retracement? Well, we have two opportunities here, two ways to measure, right? We can measure the intro or the inner structure to look for retracement, or we can measure, right? Which, by the way, this is looking like either a huge bar Simpson, or better yet, and I think so, a maybe sweep of the lows, but a flat pause of bullish continuation like we've seen before in the bull market, like this maybe. Going up, flat pause of bullish continuation, burst to the upside, right? So hopefully that plays out, but we'll see. We'll have to see. let's not lose the flooring here that quickly, right? So we can measure the inner range or the inner structure, or measure the outer structure. Let's do both, right? So what would you do both of those? Because you can have Fibonacci within Fibonacci, which are more granular support and resistances. Let's get started with just the outer range, right? So since I don't like to use magnets, but by the way, you can use them. You can use the magnet and try to grab the very bottom, then to try to grab the very top in here, right? But for some reason that doesn't play it out with me, because then when I want to push it over, it's the same as guessing, right? So that's why I don't use it. Another things like I show you, you can extend to your left or extend to your right, you see? But it also kind of like I don't like it, because sometimes I do add my VPVR in here, and it's faster for me just to shape it in whatever way I prefer, right? So let's measure it like that. Perfect. So where are we? Once again, we're looking into the 1/3 and the 50% retracement to get started with, right? Since we have Fibonacci, we're going to be looking into the 236 and the 382 and the 50% before going to the golden pocket. I mean, oh, dude, you just read out loud every single number. Yes, I know, because those are important parts, right? So we cannot ignore them. Those are your support and resistances at this point, right? So yeah, everything in here is important. So why we do what we just discussed. So do we have some supports in here? Then, oh man, that was all right. Do we have some supports? Let's go in here. Let's zoom in. Right, I do have a support in here. I have a reaction zone in here. I have another reaction zone in here, another reaction zone, and a support line. What else? Another support line. And look at like my, there we go, a reaction zone, a liquidity zone, right? And if I turn this off, look at that. Actually, my liquidity zones are very, 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 very aligned to my Fibonacci levels. So it's not that it's mystic, right? It is not that it's magical, but it feels like, right? So here's where like all of that, I don't know, uncertainty and magic like comes from the Fibonacci feels like, right? And since these are psychological numbers and we react to it, well, it's also natural to see allocation of money on those areas, right? So we'll see. Is your FIBP stock settings? Yes, it is. Nonetheless, let me bring it up so you can see it. FIBP, it's Fibo daily, right? Volume type, all kind of volume, and volume level 12. I can increase this the volume levels, right? So you can show them or not show them. But yep, this is stuck. And if for some reason I change something, you can see it right here. But I usually tend not to change something. So, yep. Let me cancel this. And that will be responding to your question. All right, so I see that most of my support zones are in there. So here's where Fibonacci shines. Where is my golden pocket? And there's nothing between one of my support and the other support. So basically, if there is a hidden support in here, which is my golden pocket, right? So usually when I see that, well, then I do expect to have a bounce like that, all right? So this comes to usually liquidate people that is not aware of this. So this is what I look for, or this is what I believe that Fibonacci shines on my own perspective, right? Again, very nice support and resistances. They act together with your confluence perfectly. But for me, seeing those hidden zones, especially with the golden pocket and platinum pocket, they shine a lot, right? That's why you don't see me adding Fibonacci that often on the charts, because I rather go for the little box in here that I can see right away, right? And do the 50%. Oh, come on. Second. 50% and the 1/3, right? So that is kind of like my cheat sheet. So it's just instead of adding the full Fibonacci, I just add the box, right? All right. My pleasure, Drew. My pleasure, buddy. So now that we have the full spectrum here, Let's add, let me actually right clicking here, let's lock it, and let's leave this little mess as is, right? Then let's do the next thing that I suggested, which was from the meaningful point, right? Maybe from here to there, and let's extend it maybe a little bit so we don't overlap that much. And you'll see that now my 50% it's on my golden pocket, right? Or in this case, let me remove it, or as what I suggested at the very, very beginning, which at this point, right now, it doesn't work. But I mean, it's not that it doesn't work, but it's not worth it, which was measuring the inner structure, right? And that is, where is my Fibs? Here it is, from the very bottom to the very top, right? Stopping at between my golden pocket and my platinum pocket. All right. So localize, this is a very nice area of resistance. We could be expecting maybe a pull up on the same candle, a little bounce to create a dead cat bounce, and a breakthrough finally, right? You can also see that we have dynamic reactive remaining strong. We also had a support area right there. Let me show it to you. There it is. And we also had a not that one. A liquidity, let me see, a liquidity box in here, right? Remember the same layer, there's my liquidity box, right? Perfect. So as you can see, Fibonacci, as always, being like a magician, right there, showing you the important zones. Kelfan, there is an unconfirmed stopping volume candle at 15 minutes BTC. Let's take a look at that. BTC, let's go to a less crowded zone. 15 minutes unconfirmed. What? Oh, I see. So you're talking about this one. Oh, volume candle. Unconfirmed volume candle. Can you maybe explain that? Now that unconfirmed stopping volume candle on the 15 minutes. Oh, I see. So maybe you're talking about this one here, which is indecision candle, right? So we have volume down, so absorption down, indecision, and if we have another big candle, well then I think we can go up. Is that the one that you're talking about? Which is nice. Which is the pattern, candle patterns that we learned, right? Which is your big candle volume, then your little candle, and then your other big candle, right? Usually that gives you a reversal. If that's the one, let me know, Kelfan. Maybe I'll look at the right side. Maybe I'm not. Vector candle. Oh, I see. Perfect. All right. So let's go here. And by the way, this would make sense because we are on reversal zones and strength. If we lose strength and we keep moving that way, I think we are on that same boat. All right. Perfect. Let me see because things are sounding around here. 1 second. All right, I think everything else is cool. Perfect. Let's continue. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Oh, yeah, we just looked at Ethereum. Let's take a look at Litecoin. Let's do the same thing here on Litecoin. So let's go, since we're losing, since we are hitting our support zone and we're kind of like losing this area. This is a 15 minute. Let's go to 4 hours. Double click. Here it is. So what kind of retracement we're looking for? If I want to see how far can it still go, what I'm going to be doing, and let me just clear this up. I'm going to be measuring the retracement from a known point, remember, always a known point, to the speculative point, which was the top, which at this point, let's be real, this is not speculation anymore, right? But let's do it like that. All right. So where are we going to? We're basically hovering over the 0.5 zone. Remember when I disguised the Fibonacci with the box? Remember that? So where are we looking for? We're looking for the 50% and the 1/3. So both of those, however you want to do it, it's actually playing out fantastically, right? Right after the 0.5, there it comes, the golden pocket. So we need to see how we confront the golden pocket. Because this is another thing. Remember the golden pocket, it's usually a hidden zone. Let's take a look at here. And depending on how we confront it with your candle, we're going to be reacting to it. if the candle, if we have a big body candle like that, like a huge candle going here, usually we're going to be retracing on the same candle, right? Or if we're in the lower time frames, we're going to have an indecision candle and then a retracement that make us kind of like range, and then based on what happens with that range, we either break down or bounce up. But this is an important zone to look to your oscillator, so you maybe can take advantage of jumping right in here as we retrace on the same candle. Take your first TP, move your stop to entry, and then look at your oscillator to see if you're gonna hold it or close it as maybe might be retracing. All right, so what would those parameters be? Basically going back down in here, right? And if I have a peak performance, right, or a diamond, well, then I know I should be holding it, right? What else? If we have big body candle, we close it, and then we create another big body candle in here, most likely this big body candle is going to go through that zone. All right, in that case, most likely we're going to range a little bit below and then continuing downwards. So this is what I have seen reactions on the golden zone, on the golden pocket. Still be careful with those. Remember that charts are perfectly imperfect, but usually we see those kind of movements. Look at that. So if we inverted this, we were going up or down because this was an inversion, remember, right? And then what happens? Two big body candles, we range. I would usually set below that, but we range. We lost it in here, right? We went to the other side. Therefore, we went to the downside because we're looking this inverted, right? So let me right click in here. Perfect. And this is just to adequate this reaction to what we could be expecting in here, just so you guys know. All right. So that is it with Litecoin. Let's take a look at, I don't know, XRP. XRP, I bet you that it's going to be a little bit of the same, right? Hedge trade 1/4 entry. Ooh, perfect. We're getting there. All right. Let's go. I don't want to lose this entry because we have not just quite there hit it. This would have been a big, good entry in here. So let's go to another one. Let's take a look at Link. Link the same. I mean, at this point, everything is the same. We're still within this huge range that we have not yet broken. Still, I believe that we still have the chance to not lose this huge trend line. This one in here. But because if we do, I think that we're going to go somewhere around this area. So maybe why do I need to think when I have the Fibonacci, right? Let's do the Fibo really quickly. The known point to the speculative, which is now a known point, right? Where are we bouncing from the golden pocket? We're going to back to the golden pocket. Most likely, we're going to pierce through. We're increasing the strength on the bearishness. So, as I told you, look at that. The candle stops right there, right before. The next candle should be piercing, then little range below it, and then flipping into the your platinum pocket, where we see big reaction or big rejections, right? So once again, Fibonacci giving you that mystic feel, mystic vibe, right? Like if it's new, right? Perfect. Let's go and see. Do you guys show me anything? I don't think so, right? Let's see. WTI. I don't know. Crypto Pollo, is that an asset? Oh, Solana. Caliphant. Solana. Perfect. Let's do Solana, and that'll be the last one that we see. More of the same, right? More of the same. So we're still within the range. This is not as dramatic as ADA. Let's go for the Fibonacci. So oh, come on. Where's my Fibs? Where's my Fibs? Here it is. The last known point, remember, to the speculative point, which at this point is not a speculation. So where are we going to be looking for retracement? 0.5 golden pocket, somewhere around here. All right. As we have, let's see, are we going to maybe retrace? We're getting strength on the bearishness. So if we're getting strength of the bearishness, maybe look for a possible bounce off the golden pocket or 50% line, and that is because the strength is starting before. So we are counting with the 0.5 to stop it a little bit. So when it gets to the golden pocket, it's not as strong, right? So it could bounce. So at this point, let's add our alerting here, and just so it doesn't happen like it happened with Ethereum, let's go a little bit above in here. So this is what I'm gonna be looking for. CFI spot, yes, absolutely, my friend. So let's do CFI. I suppose that it's the Paris one, I guess. Trade D. Is it crypto or is it TradFi? Let's see, maybe it's crypto because it said spot. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, nice. All right, I think I gotcha. All right, let's click it here. Is this the one? Oh, maybe is it? WTI, got it. Oh, but I don't think. I see. All right, perfect. Oh, got it. All right, I don't look at this oil. I look at Brent oil. But yeah, you got me. You caught me off guard there. But absolutely, yes. All right. So, do you want a FIB analysis or do you want a general analysis? Let me know. Let's get started. XRP. Jesus, what's up, bro? Or Jesus, what's up, bro? Mooning, XRP mooning? Let me do this as a general analysis, all right? So we have double bottoming here, very nice. We have a trend line in here that also has been broken with a double bottom. It's not about the breakout, it's about your retest, or in this case, your bull flag, right? And then off you go. If we wanted to measure this for the retracement up, what do? Since we don't know that this is the top, and we are doing for the retracement up, we have two options where our known points, we have this as a known point or this as a known point, right? So we can take any of those. So let's take first the known point and then the speculation point, which is at this point is not a speculation anymore. So we are basically breaking already the Fib channel. So what we're doing here, this doesn't really make sense. So we go to the next pivoting here, right? So at this point, we are on 0.5. Let's take a look at our oscillator really quick. We are still having strength on the bullishness, but we are in areas of diamond reversals. So I am expecting a reversal back to the 0.5, which is my next most important zone, right? So also, how do we maybe measure this a small reversal to the 0.5? Is that correct? Maybe do I have any other intra movement? There is a way to say it so. So how could we maybe look for it? Well then, if we have a retracement, we want to see a retracement down, and we think that this is the top, we take the last known point, right? As we have seen, which is this lower point, and then our speculation point at the top in here. So once again, we're expecting this one here, all right, this one here to act as a inner structure measurement. So we're thinking first to hit the 0.5. So what do we have here? Usually we look for the 50% retracement or the 1/3, which is right here. Does that align with the 0.5? Pretty much, it's basically at the center. So what could we start looking for? Retracement to the 236, looking for maybe drop back down, all right? And then when we get to a 382, see if we are making a mountain in there, right? So also bear in mind your ADX, because your ADX, we're getting close to reversal zones on your ADX. So if we have a reversal on the ADX like this, we're gonna have no strength on the bearishness. And if we're going lower in here, we have a retracement, a big retracement to maybe 0.5. So which could be at this point. So first area of entry, or possible re-entry for retracement 68.23, and then maybe next area of re-entry 66.16 as we are looking our oscillator. So let's just take a look at before we go. Somebody says XRP. I think so. Let me read that. I don't know, where is it? There, I lost that. So no, Solana already have gone through. All right, I don't see it. Let's call it out, guys. It's already time for me to go. So let's go to the solo charts in here. All right, guys, I'm a little bit weird today. I'm still fighting with this kind of like a sickness that I kind of have and kind of don't have. This is my third day. I need to take my what is it, honey? My what shots? My I don't know, those shots that make me do the faces. Ginger shots. Thank you. Yeah, I go to take my ginger shots and my orange juice and stuff. Because it's also, I don't know, man. It's kind of like weird. Headaches, congestion. I don't know how to say that. I need Alex to correct me here. Whatever. Dude, I'm not thinking. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to. Thank you, my friend. Really gonna try to. Again, I need advice from you guys, from the community. Should I just let it be? Should I get sick, or should I be finding it over? Let me know. What would you do? But whatever it is, I need to do it now. So thank you guys for your recommendation. I'm gonna keep reading what you guys said. Thank you so much for stopping by. I always try for you guys to get the best out of me. So if you see me a little bit under the sun, sorry, not under the sun, under the weather, right, under the rain, it's just that I'm trying finding this kind of like a sickness that is coming to me, right? But other than that, guys, thank you so much. My heart is with you guys. Thank you again for just stopping by, and as always, see you guys tomorrow.